You're listening to the November 24th, 2018 reading of Blossom Goodchild's channeling with the Federation of Light.
Hello. We needed a little break, it seems, yet now ready to give it my all once again, assuming this is tickety-boo with you.
We are indeed happy to be with you in this fullness of energy, Blossom, and have to admit to being more than delighted to do so.
Well, how lovely. Someone suggested I ask you about your experience throughout all this that we're going through. Is it as you expected it to be? Is it going well from your perspective? Are there disappointments, big hold-ups that prevent moving forward, etc.? You get the kind of thing.
We thank you for the inquiry as to how it is from our point of view. As with every single moment that has never been a moment until that moment, we experience that which is new. We have an agenda to bring your planet and all that is life within and upon her into her rightful, new, as was, position. We do not experience disappointment in the way that those upon earth do, for we see everything so very differently. That which you consider to disappoint is, to us, for us, just another step along the highway. It comes neither as disappointment or surprise. It simply is. This pathway that we all walk is never ending. One can choose how they would like to be, and through each and every choice, outcomes derive. We understand that to be in the thick of it, in the density of your earth plane, it is quite different in experience from the one we are undertaking. Yes, we come from a higher position, vibration, disposition, example. We have not, we who are known as the Federation of Light, experienced that position of being a human being. Yet we have become so much more aware of the workings of such through communication with those of you upon the earth. So many of you feel we cannot hear your voice. Yet, just because you feel you cannot hear ours does not mean that we cannot hear yours. We have picked up on so many understandings of how feelings are from so many of you who are down upon Mother Earth, giving your all for the highest good of all. We also have no attachment to anything that crosses our pathway in knowledge, other than that of love, that which connects each one to another, therefore us. We are observers at this stage. We are monitors. We assess the levels of energy and how they are progressing or otherwise. We are the ones that gauge the levels of energy to be brought through to your planet and work out the dynamics of how these energies are to flow forth and blend. For, some areas of your planet are very different in energy flow from others.
So do you mean that your sprinklings, as you call them, enter into our planet at different rates, levels, depending on where they are falling? I think you know what I mean.
As always, Blossom, we can only use words that suffice as best as they can. For in actual reality, the way we present to you that which we do is, with the greatest of respect, how one may tell a children's story. Not because the human would not be able to understand necessarily, yet because there are not the adequate ways to explain exactly how it all works. Yet, naturally, we will do our best to express. Upon your planet, there are many varied areas. You divide your countries into states, and for explanation purposes, we would say that we do the same, although not into states and countries, yet into states of energies. If we were to sprinkle, a level of energy that was, for instance, too advanced upon a certain area, it could cause much disarray and have the opposite effect from its original intention. Simply because the level sprinkled was too ahead of its time, and that state that was receiving it was not able to absorb it in a comfortable fashion. Therefore would make things feel and appear to be very topsy-turvy. We would liken this to enjoying a glass of alcohol, yet take too much, and it can change the very nature of the soul drinking it. Levels are equated in order to keep balance.
I'm a bit confused. My mind is thinking, for instance, that the beautiful place where I live in Australia is of a high energy vibration compared to one of a war-torn country. Yet surely the war-torn country is in more need of the higher energy than the one I reside in, as where I am is already doing very nicely, thank you. It would seem unfair to give my place more of the higher stuff and the one that really needs it less.
It is not that we are giving less. We are pouring through the correct amount it needs. The needs of a place of people must be controlled and monitored in order to, as we say, not cause mayhem. All is part of a divine plan. Energy is everything. The energy of love is all there is, in its multitudinous levels and disguises. There is no unfairness, as many assume.
I don't know if I can agree with that necessarily. There is a very long list one could write when it comes to what seems fair and what does not. For instance, just flowing from my mind is, it does not seem fair that we as a race are denied our true freedom due to much control that millions are even unaware of. And, may I add, all the unfairness to many souls who have been deeply and seriously and unwillingly caught up in that.
We expect and know and appreciate that you are tired. Some even bored of us repeating the same thing. Yet, the same thing is the answer to so many questions. You are entangled within the mix-up of energies upon planet Earth. Yet you knew that this was going to be taking place when you were here. You agreed to come down. You were so eager to come down and assist in sorting it all out. The bigger picture, from our perspective, is a very different one from the level of perspective that you are able to grasp, being where you are. Each one is playing your appointed role because you wanted to, because you chose to.
And yet we mostly complain, I know. Yet maybe we didn't quite get before arriving just how bad and sad and uncomfortable and confusing and desperate it could be.
Yet you did. You were able to get a feel of it in order to make up your mind as to whether you take part on an earthly level or not. And although there was great shock to the soul when experiencing that feeling, you were also made aware of the purpose, of the change that you were coming down to make. You were made aware of the love that could bring about this change. You were able to see into your future as to how events would play out, through, and lead that which you consider to be an abomination of truth through into a lighted program.
Program? Let's jump down that little rabbit hole, shall we?
Yes, Blossom. Program. Again, words do not, cannot express correctly. So we use the nearest thing to it. Programs are written with a basic foundation. Would we say a basic script running through them? They have potentials and may or may not be reached, and the energy codes within each program adjust automatically, depending upon energy codes that coincide and or match up to plans within an individual or a whole. We would suggest that should a particular program be written for a future race, and a design encrypted for its whereabouts and behaviors, then as one consciousness, this is plugged in and accepted for one to play the game. If you like, the codes are instructions, keeping in the understanding that codes change with every second. One's individual coding is designed for exactly that, each individual. And one becomes more aware of the workings of such, not through needing to know the codes, yet from the feeling that they are in alignment with the coding. We are correct, are we not, that when one is on top of the world, there is nothing quite like it.
In the same way as when one is feeling on the bottom of the world, nothing quite like that either.
You see, Blossom, when one is on top, it is that the energy codes of the higher levels are connecting with the energy codes designed in the soul. And all works together in divinity.
And when one is on the floor?
It is the same. One's energy codes are matching up with the levels of coding that match up with that.
Now that is unfair. Surely when one needs a helping hand, the last thing they need is to align with lower vibrations and codes that will keep them there.
Yet, most are now very much aware of the law of attraction. The codes that are conducted within you attract the aligning, matching codes. This is how the law of attraction works.
So are you saying that our thoughts are codes? For I know if we need to change our vibration to a better one, we need to change our thoughts to better ones.
Bingo, as you would say. Your thoughts are running codes. You do not need to understand them.
That's a blessing.
Yet, it is helpful to know.
Why, just out of interest? Why would knowing that our thoughts are codes make any valuable difference?
Because of visualization being one of the most powerful tools you have. As you lift your thoughts, imagine too, sometimes, the matrix of numbers. Like a computer running through your being, you do not need to see particular numbers, yet see them getting brighter. Perhaps sometimes imagine them like on your machines where they line up and hit the jackpot. To be aware of codes changing for the highest good, meeting up with codes outside of yourselves for the highest good, can make a huge energy shift for the whole. Imagine numbers, symbols, etc., floating out of your head and finding their partner in the atmosphere. A little like a computer game. Each one connects. You get points. This may seem a little childlike. Yet we would say that at this time your beings are in great need of this, and to have some fun amidst all the pressure would not go amiss, and at the same time have such an effect as to that which you cannot imagine. We speak of pressure. There is indeed such pressure upon your planet, and if we were to put it in terms of a pressure cooker, we would say most definitely that lid is about to blow. Hold on to your hats.
Will do. Have been and shall continue to do so for as long as it takes. Thank you. Nice to be back chatting.
Likewise. Our love reaches out to each one.
In gratitude, in loving service, I am.